Hello, I'm Lina Cuartas and I volunteer for Disastershock. And I'm trying to meet all of the fantastic people that volunteer for our relief efforts. And this week I am meeting Bridget. And Bridget has done a lot with our website. She manages the expressive art tab, and she's an art therapist, and she is a loving human being. And I want to get to know her a little better. How are you, Bridget?
Oh, I'm good, Lena. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Oh, it's fantastic to see you. I've been looking forward to it all week. So tell me,
Me.
Bridget, how did you find Disaster Shock? I have no idea how you got here.
Right. So I was introduced to disaster shock back in, it would have been around March of 2020. So when the pandemic started,
Uh-huh.
I was living in a little cabin in the woods of Ashland, Oregon, and really isolated. So I heard from my friend Julie, I'm a expressive arts therapist also.
Mhm.
And she is a colleague of mine in that field. So she had connected with this organization, Disaster Shock, and she reached out to me to see if I wanted to collaborate her with this new initiative, this arts and recovery team. And so I said yes without knowing what that meant and and started up. So it's been about 3 years.
Wow. So you were
So
there from the beginning, like me.
right, right.
Right.
Interestingly enough, Julie's life got busy as it does, and she sort of went her own way pretty shortly after I came on. And then I just sort of said, okay, it's me. I'm the team. And I ran with it. And since we've had other, Lena, you came on and other people have sort of come on to help out. But yeah, I sort of stayed and it's grown. It's grown in 3 years for sure.
Definitely. And the need seems to be escalating. There are so many more disasters happening around the world. So what we are doing is just growing in value and growing in need. So I am so glad you're still on board and you keep elevating us because you have created the murals around the world gallery. Tell me a little about your expressive arts tab. What do you
Sure.
offer there?
Right. So I think we wanted to offer other ways to process and work through trauma, one, but also self care. The arts, people in the field sort of know, well, yeah, of course, the arts offer us this way to express and process and integrate and just move energy. Like when I paint,
Mhm.
I'm just moving that energy. But people, I think I take it for granted. Well, we all do that, but we don't all do that. And we don't all know to do that. And so the arts and recovery tab was sort of introducing this other way
Mhm.
to cope. So what I offer there is an introduction to what are the expressive arts, which are essentially visual art, movement, music, drama, and writing.
Wow.
And so I sort of get down with psychoeducation. What are these things? What do they look
Mhm.
like? How can we use them? And then, like you said, I have a global gallery, which is people from all over can submit their artwork. So as we're talking and people watch this, maybe we can provide contact information at the end. I would love to receive artwork that people send with a little note, how did this help you? What did this piece
Wow.
mean to you? What were you
Uh-huh.
working through when you created it? So that's the global gallery. And then we also have a mural gallery, which
Uh-huh.
I admit I've at this point been the one to contribute most of the images. But again, I'm always putting it out there. This is what I see in my world and in my travels and where art sort of shows up on the streets. So it's a lot
Yes.
of murals, like I said, art that we find in our own backyards. So I'm always looking for more murals and and we also, as I'm talking, I'm remembering we also have a Creative Hive blog,
Uh-huh.
which again, people are welcome to submit stories, poetry. Again, um, writing is such a therapeutic thing, so people can write in and share their stories,
Wow.
in that way. So
And
that's
there I have a depth with you. I have lots of mural pictures and I need to contribute more pieces, but it's such a beautiful every time I open it, I find something that I hadn't seen before. So I encourage everyone, do explore the tab because it has so many
Yeah.
different aspects to it. And regarding self-care, what do you do personally to take care of your heart and feed your daily joy?
That's such a good question. I mean, you know, I got involved with expressive arts when I was a kid, you know, a lot of us do without really knowing, like, oh, I'm actually doing expressive arts therapy on myself without knowing that that's what I'm doing.
Uh-huh.
So that's carried through, you know, I dance, I sing, I do a lot of art. I love to get out in nature. I mean, oh my gosh, you know, Lena, but I'll share with the viewers that I'm lucky enough to be traveling right now, you know, traveling throughout Mexico and Latin America. And so just to be out moving, you know, and being in nature and the sights and the sounds, and I need to be outside. So that's so helpful for me. I'm not as good with sitting still. I want to say I meditate, but in all honesty, I'm just not very good at that. So I kind of need to be moving.
You're
that
doing
works.
moving meditation.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Whatever feels right to your body and your heart and your mind. And you have a contagious, peaceful energy. I think that's every time that we've talked, that's what I've felt most grateful about. You help me soothe and settle. Because I have high energy too. And I move a lot. But sometimes
Yeah.
my energy gets out of control. So you always help me settle down and focus and recalibrate. So I am forever grateful for that.
Well, that is a huge compliment, Lena. Thank you. Yeah, after talking to you, I always feel the same way. I'm like, we sort of like balance our nervous systems. That sort of happens when you would
yes.
another person. Yeah.
Which remember, Eileen suggested that was Disastershock's mission to soothe the nervous system of the world. And I think if we're represented to the world, Disastershock is in a good place.
I love that so much. Yep, that is exactly what we're doing. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Something came to mind that I left out, which is I feel is important. Part of our recovery tab are also directives that people can do. So, you know, things that kids or adults can go in and actually we list out a bunch of different types of expressive arts therapy directives. So if you're thinking, well, I want to try this, but I'm not an artist, I don't really know what this means, I don't know what this looks like, that is a great place to start. And we step by step lay out some actual experientials for people. So
wow,
that's
I'm gonna share those specifically with some. I met some children online yesterday, and they seem to be dealing with a lot of anxiety. I was talking about my books and my art, and they seem to be needing a lot of guidance. And you're right, not everybody's lucky enough to discover expressive arts by themselves. So it takes a little guidance, a little leadership. So I'm gonna look at those tabs. I'm so glad you mentioned them.
Great.
Bridget, tell me a little about yourself. Where are you from? Where were you
so
born?
I grew up outside of Chicago is where I grew up. And I was there, so in a suburb, up until I was 22 maybe. And I'm now in my 40s. So it's been a good 20 years. I've really traveled around a bit. I've spent a lot of time in Colorado, in Santa Fe, New Mexico,
beautiful,
Oregon, Ashland, Oregon, Bellingham, Washington. I've really found myself in really beautiful spots, which is not by accident. You know, like I said, I'm so drawn to nature. I need to be in places that feel really good. Obviously, we all do. So yeah, and now, like I said, I've been traveling through Mexico with my partner, who's Mexican, and getting to explore Mexico, which is a whole other adventure.
It's a fascinating place, and
and
every region is so distinctive, so much to learn.
So different, yeah. I've done a lot of traveling in the United States, but not a lot of international travel. So I know the US every state is different. I feel like we have so much going on. And I feel the same way about Mexico. Every single region is so different. And we've got every climate, every landscape, every environment. So I'm really seeing it all. Right now I'm coming to you from the Yucatan, Merida,
Wow.
city, which is beautiful. And like I was saying to you, hot, very
Yes.
hot. So it's
Yes.
like, you can't really be out during the day unless you've got a pool or an ocean or something. And yeah, so that's where I am right now.
Fascinating. I think you're so blessed to have had the
Yeah.
opportunity to leave Chicago and then explore your country. And now you're going overseas. And I think life is such a fantastic adventure that I'm grateful you're sharing those adventures with us. Do you have any particular plan for this year? Do you need any collaboration in the expressive arts tab? Is there, do you have a vision for what you want to keep creating?
Oh, that's a good question. One other important thing, thank you for reminding me, I want to mention about the Arts and Recovery tab, something that we've added recently. We had a member come on with us. It's probably, gosh, been, I don't know, well over a year or two at this point.
Uh-huh.
Her name is Dr. Reggie Matthew, and she has started something called the Reporter's Notebook. So that is an initiative that we are going to keep going. She basically is interviewing change makers, important people in the expressive arts world, and sharing what they're doing, how they're using the arts for healing. So definitely she's got more interviews planned with the Reporter's Notebook. I'm thrilled about your change makers interviews with the team. Like who are we? And then I just want to really I want that space to continue to grow, but feel more collaborative. There's a
Okay.
lot of me in there right now because I want to keep the content evolving, but I really want people to submit. Again, I'll just reiterate, artwork, stories, murals from where they live, but just like, how are people using the expressive arts in their lives? And I really want to showcase that. So those are the big ones. Yeah. And then again, it's always growing. It's always evolving. So
Okay.
always open to ideas.
I manage social media, so I'm gonna try and reach out more to people because I haven't done that lately. To invite
Yes.
again people to send us writings and art, and maybe they try out some of your ideas and your expressive art. You called them. There was a specific name you said. They were expressive
I
art
think I said
directives.
directives.
Yes, and
Yeah.
hopefully they'll look through and then they'll send you um, the result that they found by following.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
I have a group of people that I can contact and invite them to try the directives, so we can, because I
That would
think
be wonderful.
we do need to grow the community a little more, and maybe you and I can collaborate in that because
I
it's
would love
true.
that. Yeah, I would love
Yes,
that.
yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So on a personal level though, so I didn't mention I'm lucky because of telehealth, which has become
Uh-huh.
much more, I know it was happening before the pandemic, but
Uh-huh.
really it's being used now. I'm able to continue to see clients. So as I travel, I work with an agency out of Taos, New Mexico, and
Uh-huh.
I do expressive arts therapy with kids also. So when you
Wow.
mentioned the kids really dealing with trauma, and I work with a population that is they're all in Taos County, which is
Mhm.
a fairly underserved. A lot of them are dealing with poverty and a lot of different kinds of trauma. It's a
Mhm.
violent area. I mean, I shouldn't generalize, but there are gangs and violence as there are in a lot of places. But
Mhm.
so I'll continue, to do telehealth with these kids, and it's amazing. And I know I'm sort of saying something that might be obvious, but again, might not be obvious to
No,
you.
I think
That
it's so important. It's your
yeah,
version, your experience.
yeah, the expressive arts are so powerful because
Uh-huh.
when we have these like traumatic experiences. You and I were talking. We've got the big T traumas, but a lot of little T traumas that sort of live inside us and stay there.
Mm-hmm.
And these kids, I work with kids 6 to about 14. You know, when you're a 6-year-old, you're young. So talking about things can be really difficult. Like you don't even know where to start. I don't want to talk about it. I don't know how to talk about it. So having this other resource and this other avenue, because they can draw about it, you know, they can write about it, they can maybe move, or, you know, there's other ways to express
many
that
avenues.
Are just, yeah, many avenues, you know, just as powerful as talking about things. So I guess I just reiterate, it's needed, like really needed, especially with the kids. Like you said, they're growing up with so much. It's like a traumatized world at this point. So you can't really escape it.
Yes,
You know?
and we've come full circle, because that's what Disastershock offers.
Yeah.
For any situation of crisis where you're dealing with stress and anxiety, that is our mission. We're trying to offer ideas, alternatives, and different modalities to deal with your emotions, with situations that are getting out of control and that are making you feel like you're lost. Bridget has a phenomenal tab on our website, and it was so extraordinary to get to know you a little better. I think we can close unless you have another idea that you want to leave with us, and I am forever grateful. It's been phenomenal.
Oh. Well, I just want to say thank you, Lena, for all that you do, because it's been among the many blessings of Disastershock is the community and the people, and meeting so many like-minded, open-hearted people. And so it's always a pleasure. So thank you, Lena. Just for fun, this year, this is unexpected. I'm going to throw this at you. I'm in a Spanish-speaking country, and I've been learning Spanish. I know you're a Spanish speaker. Maybe we can end with like you teaching me a Spanish word or phrase.
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to teach you. Fue un placer conversar contigo. Fue un placer conversar contigo. It was a pleasure to talk with you. Fue.
You froze a little bit, Lena. So, okay, say it one more time.
Fue un placer. Un placer.
Fue un placer
conversar.
Conversar.
Contigo.
Contigo.
Yes.
Oh, I love it. Okay, I'm learning.
I'm going to stop it right
Gracias,
now, but
Lena.
we did great.